Well, yes, he did leave to go train with Mama Shaker. Summer. Everyone else went training by themselves. Hinata went to train with the Hyuga clan, so Neji, Sasuke went with Kakashi, Sakura and Ino went with Lady Tsunade, Shikamaru went with, I don't really know where he went. Alright, 3 years later, he arrives back at the village and goes, Christian Hyuga is back in the village! Then he knocks on the door going, someone opened the door and he says, she yells, Daddy, Hinata, Neji! They rush at the door and they see him. He says, what's up, everybody? They all say, hi, welcome back. He goes, thanks. He says, learned any new techniques? He goes, yeah, kind of. I could show you. In a sparring match with Neji! He goes, why'd you yell at my name like that? He goes, no idea. I just got that from Rock Lee. All I hear was... For some reason, I felt like I was in a genjutsu. Oh yeah, that... Also, Momoshiki put me through my most annoyances to see if I could hold on to it. And one of them was Rock Lee screaming Neji a million times. He says, I know what Neji's worst fear is. He says, what? Hinata says, come on, tell me. He says, Mini Neji. He says, it's the meme that I posted called Mini Neji. I'm trying to take my damn phone out of here. I'll be back. I need help. Take this off. It wasn't charging before. Make sure you don't break it though. I'll hold it. No, I have to put. Mom and I don't. I don't want recording. Oh yeah, he looks so cute because it's all me. Yeah. Love you. I'm gonna get my phone. I'll get it for you. I'll go get it. No, stay here. Wait, hold on. How old would Hanabi be if Konohamaru graduated when Naruto came back? He must have been 10 then. Konohamaru must have been 10 years old, because I'm pretty sure you graduate the academy at 13. Is what I think. Because Konohamaru was like 10. So I'm gonna say that Hanabi was 10 and now she's 13. He says, so that when it starts, he goes, Christian activates his Joagon. He goes, He says, no. Then they rush. Yeah! What? When he starts, they both rush at each other. Christian disappears and punches Neji right in the gut, then goes, then punches him, then Sky uppercuts him, then goes, Rasen Blast, and throws it down. He hits Neji, he goes, then Neji goes for a rotation, and the blast is still going through Neji's thing. He's going, He keeps on trying to break it with this rotation. Then, out of nowhere, Christian goes, 8 trigram, 64 palms! He says, not all, 128 palms! He goes, so you've learned the 128 palms? He says, yes I have. He says, what else did he teach you? He said that I could have learned the Golden Byakugan if I had the Byakugan, but I had the Joagon instead. He says, also I've trained up my karma to be able, but I still can't control it because it's still too hard. I control it to a level where it's weird. He goes, ah, activating his karma. Karma goes through his arms and up his eye. And then it creates a horn. He goes, ah. Then he pulls out his sword, going, then he goes, and his abs, and then he one-shots Neji. Then he powers out of it. He goes, it's still really draining on me. And also, this is not the final stage. The final stage is, as well, it just goes over his eye, and then the horn. He just actually didn't have the horn. It just goes over his eye. He doesn't have the horn yet. Then he gets started. Then he says, Hanabi, you've grown so well. He says, you too, Hinata. Y'all look like 7-year-old. I'm gonna guess everyone's age here. Neji, I'm guessing you're 17. Hinata, I'm guessing you're 16. Hanabi, 13. Me, I'm 13. I'm 16. He goes, wow, you guessed all our ages easily. He says, what about my age? He says, I'm not gonna insult you with that you're with guessing your age. So I'm gonna go 42. Hinata, Hanabi, and Neji all start laughing. They go, he says, I'm not that old. He goes, look, I don't know your age. There's nothing I can do about it. I don't know your age. He says, oh, we're getting a thing from Lady Hokage. He goes, right. Then he body flickers over. He says, so I see if you're... And then he body flickers and then knocks on the door. He goes, He knocks on the door and she says, come in. He goes, and then he jumps in going, come in, Naruto Uzumaki. I'm kidding. Back to the recording. So she says, Gora, the Kazekage, has been kidnapped by the Akatsuki. Christian says, alright, I'm going to get him. He said, then Christian body flickers to the village gate and already rushes out. He says, he says, shouldn't Christian have been back by then? He goes, yeah, he should have. Why isn't he here? He says, I don't know. Then when they get to the village gate, they see that he's already there. He says, hey, are you just coming back or are you going on a mission? He says, I'm going on the same mission you guys are. AKA, she didn't even tell me I had to go on it. I just wanted to come. He goes, also, I'm part of the team, so yeah. I am coming. Then Sasuke appears. He goes, oh, hey, Sasuke. He goes, yo, you're back. He goes, I'm back. They go, brother. Itachi appears like, I am Sasuke's only brother. Christian Sasuke still go, brother. Then they head out. He goes, we never lose, huh? We never lose. Then he goes and runs off. He says, Trin Namakama to Makuwaki. Then he goes and gets ready. Then when they arrive to the Akatsuki base, Akatsuki, why no? She says, Sakura, you mind breaking it? He says, let me do it, sensei. You guys have probably all seen your techniques. He says, Kakashi says, after this we'll be doing a belt. Oh yeah, after this I'm going to say the belt test a little bit later. He says, Sensei, let me do it. he charges up a Rasen bomb. I'm gonna call this Rasen 0. Rasen Blast. He goes, creating like that red orb Rasengan, then throws it at the Akatsuki base. Out of nowhere, it crushes the walls. Going in, then Christian body flickers and grabs Gaara, and then body flickers out. He says, quickly, heal Gaara while we walk. She just slaps 2 healing tags on him, and then they run with Gaara. He says, damn that Nine, damn that Hugo brat. He says, go, I'll handle him for now. He goes, but don't, he says, go, you idiots. He says, they're already like, he's gonna die. Then they say, so I guess you were the one who stopped us? He goes, yep. He says, now Hidan says, we're gonna kill you for stealing it. He says, you can't kill someone with a god. He says, Conan says, pain is the only god. He says, oh really? He goes, ah! Momoshiki appears. They go, ah! He says, now how many gods are there? They say, oh, Otsutsuki. He says, Momoshiki, Otsutsuki. He goes, let's go. He goes, ah! Going into his not full karma state, but his regular karma state. He goes, ah! Destroying the Akatsuki. Most of them go, muda, 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 muda. Pain, but then he goes for a punch on Pain. Pain goes, almighty. Push. Christian says, rotation, to block it out. He goes, you're doing it, kid. He goes, thanks. He goes, ah! He goes, Christian says, I've learned how to wield these. Out of nowhere, he pulls out the red energy axe that Shinshiki uses. He goes, ah! Then bashes it. Then bashes it on his head. Then bashes it on Pain. He goes, ah! Then Hinata goes for a side strike. He crushes it with his energy axe. He goes, now I'll destroy all your weapons so you can't hurt anyone. He goes, throwing tons of shuriken at them. They say, pathetic shuriken. He goes, but then they turn lightning style. He says, so what if you added lightning style? They all dodge, but then they all go through and above. He says, then he pulls them down with ninja wire in his mouth too. Then the ninja things rain down. They go, he says, shuriken. Then he goes, shuriken Shadow Jutsu. Then the shurikens multiply, putting so much power into them that then Pain goes, almighty push, pushing it back. He goes, then he appears right below him going, Rasengan! Hitting him with a Rasengan. He goes, oh! He says, Momoshiki, our time is done. He says, but for you. Then he goes, when Sasori isn't looking, he goes, Orewa! And then says, Rasengan! Killing Sasori. Rasengan! Well, it sounds like Naruto's Rasengan, kind of. And hits him going, Rasengan! He goes, Sasori. He goes, Lightning! Hitting with a lightning palm, going, poof, poof. He says, quickly! Then they body flicker back to the hidden sand. Then he says, how about a part? Then Momoshiki gives him a parting gift. A giant red Rasen blast. Shooting it, he goes, ah! Then he disappears with them, going and then sealing him right inside of him. He goes, He says, good Momoshiki, we did it. He goes, yeah. He says, I taught you well, kid. He says, yes, you did. He says, he's alright. He says, yep, that wasn't really a problem. I took down one of them. He says, and the other one is on the verge of death. I killed one of them. He says, they say, alright, our mission is done. Then they body flicker back to the village. He body flickers them back to the village, and they say, we're back. Then Kakashi says, I have to announce something. We're doing a bell test with U4. But they are right, and then they do the bell test. Kakashi holds it out, going, Then they all disappear. He says, "Start!" before they all disappeared. Immediately, Kakashi feels something pulling him under. Then Christian appears from above, throwing him up, going, "Ah!" He says, "Sakura!" She goes, "Cha!" Going for a punch, Kakashi dodges and grabs her hand, shooting a giant wind blast, and then torpedoes her towards Christian. He blocks the punch, going, "Duh, duh," and is crushed down. The rock below him crumbles. He goes, "Ah." She says, "Sorry." He says, "Now my hand hurts." She heals it up, and then he says, "Come on." Then, out of nowhere, they hear Rasengan! And it's Naruto who hits him with a sidestep or Sengun. He goes, hitting him, and then Sasuke goes, "Fire style, fireball jutsu!" Remember, okay, also, yeah, Sasuke is a Jonin. So is Neji. He goes, "QB." Then Christian goes into his karma state, and then in the fight, actually no, he doesn't go into his karma state. He says he activates the double Joagon, going. Then he goes, "Rasengan!" Kakashi goes for a punch to grab him, but then he teleports above him with body flicker and goes, boom, and sends Kakashi down. Then Naruto goes, "Sky up." Sakura uppercuts him in the sky. He goes, "Sasuke." Then Sasuke pulls down his mask. He goes, "Ah." Christian says, "Yeah, we got to see it." They see his face. He goes, "Hey." He says, "Sasuke." He says, "That was your plan?" He goes, "Our plan was to try and take off was trying to get the belt, then we decided to take off your mask." He goes, "Now Sasuke has your mask." Then he goes, "Katon, Gokakyu." He thinks, no, don't burn my mask." Then he moves it to the left and then shoots a fireball at Kakashi. He says, "Fine, you can have your mask back." He says, "Why do you use it?" He says, Christian says, "Probably for when he reads his novels, so he does to hide his bloody nose when he reads his novels." He goes, "Well, how did you know that?" He says, "I didn't. That's just a guess."